Hi friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Kate Mercy. Today we're going to be doing a full face of Colourpop. So if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and give this video a preemptive thumbs up. It really helps me out. Subscribe to my channel down below. And without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so today's video is a full face of Colourpop. I actually don't have a primer, so I've already primed my face using another brand. We are going to go in today with the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer. Mine is in the shade Fair 1N. I'm like fairly confident this is going to be too light for me, but I'm hoping that we can kind of like bronze up the skin and make it work. I'm going in using my DSMD sponge. These sponges are $6, and if you're paying more, you're getting ripped off. These are the best sponges by far. Let's do one pump and dot that all over the face. Just as I suspected, too light. I stupidly didn't get my summer shade when I bought this, so this is my winter shade. It does provide light buildable coverage. Something I've said before, and I'll kind of say again, if something has light coverage, I tend not to try to build it up. I just typically don't have great luck trying to do that. I'm hoping the audio is okay in this video. It's like 89 degrees in this room right now, so I have my fan on, so I do apologize if you can hear it. So as you can see, it provides like really light coverage, but I think it's very even, which is something that I really enjoy about it. I also enjoy the finish. It's not overly dewy, but it's also not super matte. This does have hyaluronic acid in it, so I think it's important to note that having some kind of a like creamy base underneath it is going to really help, because hyaluronic acid can pull the moisture from your skin. If you don't have a moisture barrier down, it could dry your skin out, which is obviously the opposite, the exact opposite of what we want. So I really like this foundation, tinted moisturizer, excuse me. I'm going to go in with their Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Creamy Concealer. I'm going to go in with very little amount of this just because it is, again, my winter shade. And I'm just going to try to do a little bit of like mild concealer. And because I don't think Colourpop has an eye primer, I'm going to just put that on the lid as well for when we do our eyeshadow. I really enjoyed this concealer as well because much like the foundation, I really enjoy the finish. It's not too dewy, it's not overly matte. I think it does a nice job like bringing hydration to the under eye area. It does provide like light to medium coverage. If you're looking for a Tarte Shape Tape dupe, this is not going to be it, but I think it does a nice job of like concealing the purple under my eyes from sleep deprivation. I do have this as well. This is by Soul Body. This is their face and body bronzing balm. I haven't tried this either, but I'm really excited to. People have been saying that this is a dupe for the Chanel, which I honestly have also never tried. To apply this, I'm going to use my Blinged Brushes F4 brush. And I don't know if I said, but I have the shade Light. You can see that I've swatched it, but I've never used it. What I've really been enjoying as far as cream bronzer goes is the one by Tarte, and it's their Breezy one. I used it, it came out last summer, and I recall buying it and really loving it, and I've whipped that back out, and I'm also really loving that. Don't mind the tone of this at all, though. I was a little worried it was gonna pull orange, because that's obviously like never the vibe. It actually looks more stark on camera than in real life, but we're still gonna make it work. It's also not pulling up the foundation underneath, which I'm really pleasantly happy to report. Overall, I really do like the finish of it. It's not like overly dewy. I would say it's like a soft matte. I don't find that it's like lifting up my tinted moisturizer, so I'm going to keep playing with this, but overall I think this is a nice alternative. Like I said, I've been playing with the Tarte one and I've really enjoyed that one, but I think this is comparable. This is a little bit more warm toned, so something to just kind of bear in mind. Now we're going to go in with the powder. This is their No Filter Loose Setting Powder in the shade Soft Pink. So as you can see, it's quite pink. Quite pink. I'm going to try to apply that with the L13 brush from Laura Lee Los Angeles, And I'm going to start with my under eyes. I'm going to just pat them out so that we're not setting any settling. And then I'm going to lightly just set the rest of my face. We're going to be using some powder products, so I want to make sure that we are creating a nice base. I find that if I don't set my face, the oil buildup, especially in my T-zone, is really atrocious, and B, I find that I get more skipping out of my powder products and they just don't apply the same way. I think that's really pretty. Actually, I think that it did a nice job kind of giving me a blurred effect. I think the pink for my skin tone also worked really nicely. So far so good. I'm really enjoying the way that my base is looking. Moving swiftly along, we're going to go into blush. I have a couple of options for blush. I picked out 2 of them. So this is their pressed powder blush in the shade Foxy. So this is what this looks like. I think it looks really pretty. Like, it has decent pigmentation and it has like a nice sheen to it. And then Cookie Cluster has like a couple of different options. They don't all have that same like sheen like quality that Foxy has. So as you can see, this here is Foxy, and then those are the 3 blush options from Cookie Cluster. This one has kind of a similar shimmer. Foxy definitely has more of a punch. I think, honestly, I'm probably going to go into Foxy today. It's just kind of calling my name. To apply that, I'm going to go in with the F28 brush by Blinged Brushes. This is their collab with Paige Corin. So off the bat, it does have a lot of pigment. I think that this is a nice buildable formula. It is not my favorite formula on the market by any stretch of the imagination. However, I think that if you're not somebody who maybe wants like a more subdued blush or enjoys being able to build those products so that you're not being too harsh upon initial application, I think you would appreciate their blush powder, their powder blush formula, if I could speak. I tend to prefer a more punchy blush just because I feel like blush is like one of the first things to kind of dissipate on my face. However, I am going to work today, so I don't know that I really need to be like showing up with a super punchy blush. But I think this is really pretty. I really like peachy blushes, so I'm really happy with this. For highlight today, I'm going to go in with my Cookie Cluster Quad, and I'm going to go into this top shade here called Butterscotch. This is what it looks like swatched out. So it has like a bit of gold reflect, but it also has like a little bit of neutrality to it. Straight gold highlighters on me just look really ridiculous because I have a cooler skin tone. So I'm hoping that this does what we want it to do. Also, this does appear to be their super shock formula, which, if you haven't tried, is like a cult classic, and it's a cult classic for a reason. I think that provides like a really beautiful natural sheen. If you wanted to build this up, you absolutely can. It's kind of like you can see if I press into it, it's like a putty formula. So it honestly, it applies more punchy with your fingers or with a sponge, but if you want a more subdued application, I would recommend going in with like a brush. For the eyes today, I wanted to go in with a neutral palette from Colourpop. So I debated going in with the Going Coconuts palette, but I just really love this palette. I love Going Coconuts too, but this Good as Gold palette is honestly like one of my favorite palettes from them. It just has like a really beautiful array of like gold and neutral tones with this like pop of yellow here. So we're gonna start off by going into State of Mind, which is this pale nude shade, and to do that I'm going to use a Morphe M518, and I'm gonna just put that all throughout the crease as our transition shade. Next, going in with my Morphe M433 brush, I'm going to go into this dark brown shade here. That is called Bold Rush, and we're going to stamp it on the outer V and then transition it gently into the crease. I will say the thing that like I absolutely love about Colourpop shadows is that I personally have never had an issue with like blendability. Never had an issue like, oh gosh, you know, like this is getting really patchy. Like sometimes I feel like I'm a makeup enthusiast, but I'm certainly not a makeup artist by any stretch of the imagination. So sometimes I can struggle with like darker colors or be more intimidated by darker colors because sometimes, depending on the formula, the blendability just isn't there. And like Colourpop, honestly, for beginners, for intermediate, for experts, like it just works really well. So, and again, this is like one of my favorite Colourpop palettes of all time. So I am really pleased with how this is coming along. Now we're going to go into this absolutely beautiful shade here on the end. This is called O-Team. And we're going to just use a flat synthetic brush to start. And if that doesn't work, of course, we'll go in with our finger. Spoiler alert, that doesn't work. We're going to just go in with our finger. I really like how this very simple neutral eye look is coming along. I don't have the Colourpop mascara, to be perfectly frank, so I'm going to use another variety, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back and I applied mascara. I also applied my eyeliner off camera. I used the Colourpop liner. This is from their Raw Beauty Christy collab, and this is the shade Woodsy, so it's like a nice brown. I feel like it goes nicely with this very neutral eye look. I'm not going to do any lower lash business. I just don't feel like this look really needs it. For lips today, I am going to go in with one of their newer products. So the products collabs, I should say. This is their collab with Barbie. It is the Golden Beach. So I have the lip liner and of course the lipstick. Their lip liner formula is one of my favorites. It's very creamy, so it glides on very easily, but I don't find that it moves around too much. And then going over that lip liner, I'm just going to go in with the matching Golden Beach lipstick. This formula is actually newer to my collection, and I really enjoy it. I just feel like, first of all, this color Golden Beach is like almost a perfect nude for me. And also, I just feel like the formula sits really nicely on my lips. So I'm really content with it. So this is the final makeup look using mostly only Colourpop products. I'm really happy with how my makeup came out today. If you see me looking down, my mirror is right here. I feel like it's like very natural, looks really good, it flatters my skin. So standout products today, definitely my complexion products. So the Pretty Fresh hyaluronic acid tinted moisturizer, as well as their creamy concealer. I just feel like for my combination skin, it does a really nice job of like kind of blurring everything out. I think it lasts really nicely. Obviously you can't really see that in this video, so you'll just have to take my word for it. I think that these wear well over time. This is a first impressions for this, but honestly I'm really impressed. I think that this did a nice job kind of emphasizing the smoothness that the tinted moisturizer already gave us, kind of a like plumping, juicy effect, but like this did a nice job of coming over and like smoothing it all out. So I'm actually really pleasantly surprised with this. As far as the bronzer goes, again, first impression, I think it looks really pretty. I think it's nice, for me anyways, that it is a pretty pigmented formula, so it does a nice job of like showing up underneath even my powdering. I think something to just kind of bear in mind though about that is that if it is super pigmented, as it is, that we want to maybe go in with a lighter hand. However, if you use a less densely packed brush, it's going to apply less concentrated than if you go in with a more concentrated, thick, dense brush. So just something to bear in mind, but I really do enjoy this bronzer overall. I will say that their powder cheek products are like not my favorite. They are certainly not bad. I have tried like actually bad ones, and these are not bad. They're just not my favorite. I find that if I am going for a really punchy blush look, Colourpop's powder formula is not my go-to. They do have blush sticks, which I do appreciate. I didn't want to use those today. I wanted to kind of give those their time to shine because I do think that they kind of get a bad rep, but I think I like my makeup. I'm content with how this makeup looks. So the blushes are, I will say, not my favorite formula in the entire world. However, they're also not a bad formula. I think that if you are somebody that really doesn't prefer a punchy blush, or if you prefer more buildable products, that you will really appreciate these. The highlight, I think, is really pretty. I applied it with a blush today because I do not want a super beaming highlight today. However, something to note is that if you want a really punchy, out of this world highlighter, if you want a super bright, super punchy highlighter formula, the Super Shock Shadow formula is the way to go. This quad, I honestly, I haven't used too much, but what I will say is that this one down here does feel a little bit more creamy than the others, so this is a little bit more punchy than its counterparts. However, I'm really happy with overall how my makeup came out. Colourpop is one of my favorite brands. They are more cost effective than some of the other brands there out on the market, and I feel like you get good products, not just for the price, but just in general, you get good products. I will leave all of these products listed down below. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It would mean a lot to me if you would subscribe to my channel down below. As always, please stay happy, stay healthy, and stay blessed, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.